Hello. Welcome to the another class of Internet of Things. In this class of Internet of Things, today we will study here about the IoT and the cloud computing. That is the Internet of Things and the cloud computing here. We have been studying that a lot of smaller devices will be connected to the internet. That means it will become an internet of things when each and every device which is surrounding you becomes a smart device. That means it has internet connectivity. So when each of these smart devices, like starting from your handsets to your wearables to and another devices like your refrigerators, your smart household appliances, so when these are uh, internet enabled, so that means they're gathering some information and they have to transmit this information also. So we need some storage there. But if tons of data is exchanged, so that means you need a bigger storage platform here. So if you look at the infrastructure of your IoT, you just start from the small devices here, then they have any kind of connectivity here like your Wi-Fi or your cellular connectivity, that is utilizing either your GSM or your 3G or your 4G LT infrastructure. So after that, it's your network. Then you have, it is just providing the connectivity. Then you have the cloud and the internet, or simply the cloud network, where the main exchange, that means we can say that the data is stored, because we need bigger data centers here for this tons of data which is being exchanged here between these devices. So that means first of all we should know what is cloud computing, and then what is the IoT cloud server, and then the IoT cloud architecture. So first of all, in this class we will study here about the cloud computing, that what are the various resources and how it can be utilized here for your internet of things, and then what is the cloud server and the cloud architecture. That means how this cloud architecture is here clubbed for your internet of things. So first of all, what do I have here is the concept of cloud computing. So cloud computing is basically defined as a distributed computing on the internet. Cloud computing is your distributed computing. That means the various resources which you need to access an application, they will be distributed. They will not be here available with only one resource. That means you have all the hardware for different applications and the softwares. It implies that you will have hardware located at some another location that is accessing the software which is on someone else's hardware, and it is also running the services through someone else data center. So if I have to club all these things, I can say that cloud computing is a distributed computing on the internet. That means we need the internet to access it. So it can be defined as, or we can say that cloud computing allows you to access an application which is running on someone else's hardware. Application is different, hardware is also different, and that hardware is using, or that application is using someone else's data center. So that means all of the resources are distributed. Your application, your hardware, and your data center. So we can say that cloud computing here allows the separation of operating system as well as the separation of your application. This is, I would mention here, that cloud computing allows here the separation of your operating system, the separation of your applications from the hardware. That means you don't have to be hardware dependent for that application. You don't need have dependent on any of these. What you need is that an internet connectivity so that you can access an application which is running here on someone else software, someone else hardware, and which is accessing some another data center here. So that means cloud computing is here catering various number of services. That means providing the various application services, storage capabilities, which is main application here for your IoT. That means the storage here will be provided by your cloud. So that means it doesn't have to be the data always with you. You just need the internet here to access that information. So that reduces your hardware complexities also, as well as your software complexities also, because if you will be storing all of the data on one system, that basically makes your system slow here. So that's why cloud computing here is used as an a very important, it's one of the most important platform here for your IoT systems here. So that means one example which we can here refer to cloud computing is that you can it's not always necessary that you have to log into your system to access your mail. You can remotely access some another system to access your email. So that means that email is not always stored on you. That messages are not always stored on your hardware, but they are stored on the service or the application cloud. If you're using any of the email services, so that email can be retrieved at any remote location by using some another hardware. So that means the application here is residing, or the storage we can say is that all the information is stored there on the so on the cloud of the application provider, so whatever application you are using there. So these are the benefits of cloud computing, because it reduces our storage complexities and our complexities, and it implies that you can access large number of services here. Now next we will see here that what are the different components of your cloud computing system. So centralized, you have the internet here. That means you need to have the internet connectivity in order to access your cloud services. Whatever the services applications are there provided by these vendors, you need to have the internet connectivity for that. So after that, you have client computers. Now client computers here interact with the uh, internet or our cloud in order to access the services. After the client computers, we have a number of distributed servers, and the third component which is here for a cloud computing, that is your data centers. Now data centers actually is the place where your application is residing. That means your all information is residing here. Now these are distributed servers. These are basically placed in different geographical locations, but they appear as that they are just placed next to each other. So these are geographically located at different locations, but the working here is enabled in such a way that they appear that they are just next to each other. So this is the benefit of cloud computing here, that these client computers are accessing this one resource which is consisting of your data centers where your actual application is residing, and your different servers there which are enabling here the cloud platform, which are located in different geographical locations here. So various, now if we talk here about your IoT, so that means the different services here can be catered on this cloud platform. That means the services which are provided here by your cloud are like service on demand. So that is here clubbed with your IoT, that many of the resources like your sensor based applications. So such kind of applications can be provided to the users on demand, like your virtualized hardware. Now we will see that how this in cloud computing. Now we have this infrastructure, that what is the deployment scenario, that and how that is used here for your IoT. So basically, your cloud computing is like this, having three modules. Now the the lowest layer is your IaaS, then you have PaaS, and then you have application as a service. Now, this is basically for network. This is for your network or application, and this is your service. So first of all, I have infrastructure as a service. So in order to provide an application, first of all, the hardware should be enabled for that. That means this infrastructure as a service, this the lowest layer, is basically dealing with the network deployment or the network architecture of your systems. Now, this layer basically provides the various computing machines, that means the various computers, or we can say that the various physical virtual machines. So this layer is here responsible for providing the physical, or we can say simply the virtual machines here. Now here, for this layer, for infrastructure as a service, we should know about the concept of virtualization. Now, that means virtualization is here used in this layer of your cloud computing model. So, virtualization is basically that the thing actually is not present, but you are actually creating an instance of that particular object. Now, for example, if you're using Windows 8 or 10, so simultaneously, if you want to use Linux or Ubuntu, so you can install the instance of that another operating system. So that operating system is not actually, but that's just an instance of that operating system on your system that will actually work like a real another operating system. That means you can use like Windows 7 and Windows 10 simultaneously. So Windows 10 will be the host operating system, but Windows 7 will be a guest operating system. So that will be your virtual machine. So this is just an example of a software, but you can provide the hardware also. That means virtualized hardware. Actually, you don't have that hardware with you, but the instance of that hardware is created with the help of virtualization, so that it appears that yes, you're using that system here for uh, exact. That means the instance of that system of that particular hardware or software appears real. So virtualization is here used in infrastructure as a service. That means for users, the various virtual machines are provided as service on demand. Now for IoT, you have large number of devices. You have sensored devices, you have healthcare devices. So these devices can be virtualized or virtually provided to the users with the help of this layer. So for virtualizations, the various hypervisor layer exists, that means which exist there between the hardware and the operating system, and which provides the creation of the instance of that machine or that software. So in this layer, we need to or we will virtualize our software on the various hardware. So this layer, this network infrastructure as a service, basically just deals here with your physical virtual machines. Now, after infrastructure as a service, you have platform as a service. Next layer which I have here is platform as a service. Now you have deployed the hardware, the network infrastructure, but the applications which should be developed and working on that infrastructure, that is here done by your platform as a service. So cloud providers basically provides here an environment where the software developers can develop these various apps where applications. So what they provide is an platform for development of various kind of applications, programming level execution, that means the various programming platforms here, so that the developer, they don't have to spend or they don't have to increase the complexity of the system just by having that hardware also and having an another uh, platform for development of that particular kind of application. So you have infrastructure as a service, you will have the virtual machine, and then fortunately you can run your application there. So this part here deals with the infrastructure deployment, and this is for enabling that infrastructure by providing such kind of platform which enables here the development and execution of various kinds of applications here. Now, after platform as a service, the third layer which you have is software as a service. Now, this is the topmost layer of your cloud model here. Now, this software as a service is now basically owned by the various vendors which is providing the various applications. That means this is the layer here which is consumed by the end user. You can use any software here, and depending upon the hardware and the um, software development mode here. So the various applications which you have here as like software as a service, as like your OneDrive examples, as a user, the one which you are using, OneDrive, Dropbox, etc., or Google Office 365. So that means the user just have to have the internet connectivity, and then he can access these various services. Now, these services like your OneDrive, your Google Engine, or your like Dropbox, these are not always the information with the user, but they are stored here with the cloud platform. But the user can access these services here. So that means this cloud platform is going to help the Internet of Things in a very great manner, because we will be having a large number of devices. So we will have the solution like this virtualized machine here. Then each of the application of the devices will be requiring a certain kind of programming uh, execution there. So that will be provided here by a platform as a service. So that means the various resources, we don't have to worry about the storage and computation of the various kind of resources for enabling your IoT. That will be here done by the IoT. Now, like Apple's iCloud and another operators, which are vendors working for the development of various cloud systems for your IoT here. So this enables the infrastructure complexity. This reduces the infrastructure complexity and the storage computational capacities for your Internet of Things here. So as you will see, your IoT system, so what you just simply have your things, which are your devices. Then you have your gateways, and after gateways you have your network and cloud. So that means you need certain gateways also like that. So like for example, you have a Raspberry Pi gateway, so which is interacting with these things and this cloud platform also. So certain kind of gateways are also required which will be communicating with these two entities. Now after The fundamentals of cloud computing. Next, we have to see the IoT cloud server. So that means you will have the things here which are basically your connected widgets. The first thing which you have is your things. Now after that you have to route that information. So you have the routers or the firewalls, and you have the connectivity platform here also. Now after that, what you will encompass is your cloud system. So this cloud system is having here different cloud servers. Now this is connected here like this, and to this level from your this intermediary section, this is connected here to your cloud servers. Now users are accessing that application from these servers here, which are your distributed servers which are located at different geographical locations here. So this is your cloud part here. Now the architecture for the system will go in the same manner. That means how it will look, that when your IoT and cloud are working together, that means cloud is acting as a platform for your IoT. So you will simply have a various number of devices here. You will have any kind of connectivity which is available. It could be a Wi-Fi, it could be your Ethernet, it could be your cellular connectivity here. Now, there exists my cloud system. For example, my air cloud here. So now it is interacting here with the internet on the basis of internet. So it will be using the various kind of constrained protocols which are designed here for your IoT. So that is like your REST protocol, your constrained application protocol, or your MQTT protocol here. Now after that, in this cloud system, you will have this storage and the engines which are here, and these are the various apps in your data server. So with this system, the data is pushed also, and the data is pulled also. So it will have this different constraint protocols of your IoT. This is your IoT cloud architecture, starting from your devices connected with any kind of connectivity from your cellular networks, your Wi-Fi, or your wired connectivity. So you will have these different protocols here which will be communicating with these devices and the cloud network here. So this is the application. That means from the data storage or the engines which are working here, you have the capability of pushing the data and pulling the data so that ultimately the user can access these services. So if you talk here about the cloud data acquisition, that how that is done, so that cloud data acquisition is done with the help of these protocols. Like we will for traditional internet we use your HTTP. So we know that certain protocols are here aligned with your HTTP server also, but then you have for data acquisition MQTT server here, and your constrained application protocol server also, which are here connected to some another system. So these are the protocols which are used here for the data acquisition for your IoT system. So by this we can see that cloud computing is one of the most important technology enabling the IoT, because it reduces many of the complexities which we can face here when deploying the complete infrastructure for your Internet of Things here. So in this class, we have just seen here the IoT and how it collaborates with your cloud computing system. So this is all here for today's session. We will continue with more topics about Internet of Things in our next classes. Thank you so much.